It was a rainy afternoon when Ella inherited the old Victorian mansion from her late aunt, a woman she had never met. Ella's aunt, a recluse, had lived alone for decades, and after her passing the mansion sat abandoned, hidden in the woods, far from the nearest town. Ella knew little about her aunt's life, but the house intrigued her. It was large, eerie, and for reasons unknown, felt like it held secrets waiting to be uncovered. The first thing Ella noticed as she entered the grand foyer was the massive ornate mirror that stood at the end of the hall. It was old, far older than the house itself, and covered in a thin veil of dust. The frame was intricate, with patterns of twisting vines and delicate flowers carved into the wood. But there was something unsettling about it. The mirror didn't just reflect the room, it seemed to draw the darkness closer, as if it contained a world on the other side. Ella couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. She assumed it was the house itself, its creaky floors, its strange, unexplained drafts, and the way the shadows seemed to move in the corners of her vision. But it was the mirror that truly unnerved her. Every time she passed by it she caught glimpses of something, or rather, someone, just out of the corner of her eye. A figure, vague and blurry, standing just behind her reflection. But when she looked directly there was nothing there. One evening as Ella sat in the drawing room she heard a faint whisper. At first she thought it was just the wind or perhaps the house settling, but then the whisper came again, louder this time. "Ella?" Her heart skipped a beat. She looked around the room but there was no one there. The whisper seemed to be coming from the hallway, from the direction of the mirror. Compelled by an unknown force, Ella stood up and walked toward the hall. The closer she got to the mirror, the stronger the pull became, as if something was beckoning her to look deeper. She reached out to touch the cold, smooth glass. As her fingers made contact, the world around her seemed to blur, and the whispers grew louder. "Please, help me." The voice was pleading now. Ella's breath caught in her throat. She stared into the mirror. At first all she saw was her own reflection, but then it shifted, subtly at first. The edges of her face blurred, and another figure appeared. A woman, pale and gaunt, with hollow eyes and long dark hair that seemed to move as though underwater. The woman's lips parted, but no sound came from her mouth. Yet Ella could hear the whisper, clear and urgent, "I need to get out." Before Ella could react, the mirror rippled as though it were made of water. Her reflection distorted, and in that moment the woman's hand shot forward, reaching through the glass. Ella stumbled back in shock, her heart racing. The woman in the mirror was reaching for her, desperate and frantic. Ella rushed away from the mirror, her mind racing. Who was this woman? Why was she trapped in the glass? And why had she been calling to her? The next day, Ella searched through the old mansion's dusty library, hoping to find some answers. She discovered journals belonging to her aunt, dating back several decades. In one, a chilling account of a strange incident caught her attention. It seemed her aunt had once been an avid collector of rare antiques, and among her acquisitions was a mirror she claimed was haunted. The journal spoke of strange occurrences surrounding it, the whispers, the shadows, and the inexplicable feelings of dread that accompanied it. But what caught Ella's attention most was a cryptic passage at the end of the journal. "The mirror is not a reflection of the soul. It is a gateway to something else, something dark. It traps the lost, the forgotten. The one who gazes too long will see not their own reflection, but the one they seek, if they are foolish enough to ask." Ella's blood ran cold as she realized the woman in the mirror was not some random ghost. She was someone, or something, that had been lost to time, trapped in the reflection, unable to escape. Determined to understand more, Ella consulted a local historian, a woman named Margaret, who was familiar with the mansion's past. Margaret told her a story she'd heard as a child, of a young woman named Abigail who had lived in the house many years ago. Abigail was said to have been deeply troubled, plagued by visions and strange occurrences. She had found solace in an old mirror, believing it could offer her answers to the questions she dared not speak aloud. But the more Abigail stared into the mirror, the more she became consumed by it. Her body grew weaker, her mind frayed, until one night she disappeared without a trace. The only thing left behind was the mirror, which was said to have absorbed her essence, trapping her soul within its depths. Margaret's face grew serious as she spoke. "That mirror is cursed. It holds the souls of those who sought something they shouldn't have. Answers, salvation, power. And once you see the truth you can never leave." The realization hit Ella like a bolt of lightning. The woman in the mirror wasn't just a ghost. She was Abigail, or perhaps the remnants of her, trapped for eternity. And now, Ella had unknowingly become part of the cycle. She had stared too long, asked the wrong questions, and now the mirror was calling to her, ready to pull her in as it had with others before. Frantic, Ella rushed back to the mansion. The air was thick with tension, the house holding its breath as she approached the mirror. The whispers began again, louder this time, as if the mirror itself were alive, feeding off her fear. "I can't let this happen," Ella muttered to herself. She remembered the journal's words, "If you are foolish enough to ask." Ella wasn't asking anymore. She was demanding. With trembling hands she pulled the mirror away from the wall, determined to end this curse once and for all. She turned it over, expecting to find nothing, but instead she saw a symbol etched into the back, a symbol of an eye half open as though it were watching her. Before she could react, the mirror rippled once more and Abigail's face appeared again, her eyes wide with terror. "Don't do it," she whispered, her voice breaking. But Ella wasn't afraid anymore. She slammed the mirror down onto the floor with all her might, shattering it into 1,000 pieces. The house seemed to tremble and for a moment, everything was still. The whispers stopped. The cold, oppressive atmosphere lifted. Ella left the mansion the next day, the shattered pieces of the mirror left behind. She never spoke of what had happened, but sometimes late at night she could still hear the faintest whisper in the back of her mind. "Help me." The mirror had been destroyed, but the curse lingered, and Ella knew, deep down, that it would never truly be gone. The souls trapped within its depths would always be waiting, watching, calling for someone else to take their place.